Chapter 1. The Pencil. Leo was an artist, and his studio was the attic of the old house he rented. It was his sanctuary, filled with the smells of wood dust, turpentine, and old paper. One evening, while working on a sketch, he dropped his pencil. It clattered across the wooden floor. Leo sighed and reached under the table. A moment later, he heard the exact same sound again, the distinct clatter of a pencil hitting the floor, but his pencil was already in his hand. He froze, listening to the silence. The sound had come from the farthest, darkest corner of the attic, cluttered with old furniture draped in white, shroud-like sheets. Chapter 2. The Turning Page. Just an old house, he told himself, creaks and groans. He tried to get back to his work, but he couldn't focus. Every rustle made him jump. He forcefully turned a page in his sketchbook. The thick paper made a distinct rustling sound, and immediately, from the dark corner, came a response. A soft, papery rustle, a perfect copy. This no longer felt like a coincidence. A chill ran down Leo's spine. Something in the darkness was mimicking him. Chapter 3. The Whisper. Days passed, but the echo didn't stop. It grew bolder. It imitated his cough, the creak of his chair, even the soft humming of a tune under his breath. Leo felt as if he were constantly being watched, studied. One day, unable to bear it any longer, he shouted into the darkness, "Who's there?" Silence was his only answer. And then, a minute later, a barely audible whisper reached him, a distorted echo of his own words. There.
Chapter 4. The Lantern. Fear gave way to angry determination. That night he went up to the attic with an old kerosene lantern. The warm light pushed back the shadows, but couldn't dispel the oppressive atmosphere. He looked behind every chair and every drawer. Nothing, just dust and oblivion. But as he approached that very corner, the air turned icy. The lantern's flame flickered, almost went out, and for a moment he thought he saw a shadow on the wall move on its own. Chapter 5. The Drawing. Leo decided to conduct an experiment. Before leaving, he left his sketchbook open to a clean page on his desk. He locked the attic door and stayed up all night, listening to the silence. In the morning, with a pounding heart, he returned. There was a drawing on the page, crude, as if scratched by a spider's leg. It depicted a person at a table, his reflection. But instead of a face, the figure had only a dirty black smudge, a void. Chapter 6. The Scratching. He didn't go to the attic anymore. He moved his things to the living room, trying to convince himself it was all a dream, a figment of his imagination. But the echo refused to stay locked away. At night, lying in bed, he began to hear sounds from above. A quiet, persistent scratching on the ceiling, as if someone, or something, was slowly dragging something across the attic floor right above his head. Chapter 7. The Confrontation. It was unbearable. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't work. This house, his sanctuary, had become his prison. He had to put an end to it. Grabbing the heaviest flashlight he could find, he threw open the attic door and stood at the foot of the stairs. "Show yourself!" he yelled, his voice trembling. "What do you want?"
Chapter 8. The Movement. In response to his shout, a sound came from the attic. But this time, it wasn't an echo. It was a new, original sound. A wet, shuffling noise, as if someone were dragging a damp cloth across the floor. Chapter 9. The Form. It began to crawl into the light. At first, it was just a shadow that separated from the other shadows. Then It took shape. A tall, impossibly thin figure, as if woven from dust and cobwebs. It had no features, only the vague silhouette of a person, elongated and distorted like in a funhouse mirror. The creature slowly raised a long, thin arm, mimicking Leo's gesture with the flashlight, but its movements were jerky and wrong. Chapter 10. The Voice. Where the figure's face should have been, a dark hole opened, and from that hole came Leo's voice, a perfect, clear copy, devoid of all warmth. "You are the echo now," it said. Leo screamed, turned, and scrabbled down the stairs, not caring where he was going. He slammed the attic door shut, ran out of the house into the night street, and never looked back. But sometimes, even now, when he speaks, he thinks he can hear a quiet, mocking reply just behind his words, a repetition, an echo.